Time for another issue of BTEC, you ought to know by now. Season 2, number 3 is out. It's out there. It's available. It's on the shelves in the comic store. It's on the phone on your comic phone. It's there. Just get it and read it, because we're going to be talking about it. Fair enough? I'm tired, man. I'm so tired. I have a baby. Babies take a lot of work. Did you know this? DC Comics is like, hey, guy with the baby, you want more DCAU? I'm giving you all the DCAU at once, okay? Thank you, DC Comics. I love you. Hang on a second. Now I'm just tired and my stomach hurts. Our most recent BTAC issue breakdown came out on a Thursday.
Because it's Thursday.
But either you guys didn't notice because it was a weird day, or YouTube didn't push you the notification, or a combo of the two or something. So go help its unfortunate view count by realizing, oh hey, it does exist, and watching it. And hey, if you're just finding us through this video, we've covered every issue of the Adventures Continue comic and the new Justice League Infinity so far, separated into respective playlists of the same names. So watch all of those too, even if you have before. Okay, thanks. Correction Speedrun. Stuff we messed up last time. Okay, last issue there was a painting in Hamilton Hill Jr.'s office, and I didn't know what it was. But thanks to Ian Watson and, oh, it's pronounced Jash Al-Duke.
A common mistake.
I now know it's yet another Tamara de Lempicka piece, Portrait of a Girl in a Green Dress, also known as Young Lady with Gloves, also known as Young Girl in Green, and now also known as some lady, I don't know. Alex Haddon 330 informs me that Dionysium, the chemical keeping the Talons alive in the New 52, is made from extract of Lazarus Pit. So the Ra's al Ghul connection to the Court of Owls is still possible if they ever come back. Mr. William and Misled Chip remind me that among Batman's zombie encounters, I completely forgot Solomon Grundy. Whoopsie. Also adding Mr. William and the Misled Chip to my list of potential band names. Deadman calling Nightwing Dicky Boy to Ashley Tutchin's eye. Thanks for clarifying that. What are you touching? Maybe a reference to last year's Joker War, where Joker tried to outright brainwash Dick or Rick or whatever into thinking his name was Dicky Boy. L. Block suggests that Mr. Freeze's gun getting destroyed in issue 2 is more evidence that this comic is taking place in a different timeline than the cartoons, as the gun is intact in the future Batcave of Batman Beyond. Until ink breaks it. And maybe? But I feel like weapons and costumes and stuff have blowed up and come back enough times in the DCAU that we can't count on it for any timeline assistance. Even within this comic, Firefly's suit is like, nah, I'm good, man. Scarface has been shredded up 1,000 times and still comes back. I think the only instance of this that does have a continuity might be Riddler's suit, which he burns at the end of BTAS and then he gets a different costume altogether. I'm sure Mr. Freeze's gun could be easily rebuilt, or he has multiples, or whatever. The one in Beyond is even the BTAS gun. The TNBA gun is already a different gun. The gun's gonna gun, alright? I'm spending too much time on this. And lastly, a couple that we caught ourselves. We forgot to mention that inexplicably, both BTAC and JL Infinity last month used the word harridan, which means a strict, bossy, or belligerent old woman. Like your mom. I'd never heard of this word before, and both comics used it. Now I'm gonna start hearing it everywhere. And we also failed to point out the remainder of the Batcave's supervillain supersuits. Among Mr. Freeze, Firefly, and Bane, there was also Lockup, and what I thought at first might be Grant Walker's suit, but it was confirmed by colorist Monica Cabina to be Mr. Freeze's original suit. And the cream of the crop, we're idiots. I mean, in general, but this time because Veronica Vreeland's grandfather, Stanton Vreeland, has already appeared in the DCAU, and we completely forgot about it. Not even you caught it in the comments, so this is your fault. He was in BTAC Season 2, Issue number 1, but he was also in the episode Catwalk as a statue.
Stanton Vreeland was a playboy sportsman who'd blow away anything that wandered into his gun sight.
Apparently, that includes owl cosplayers. DCAU references! All in all, there's not a ton of callbacks to the animated series this time around, despite the appearances of original villain the Jazzman, last seen in I Am the Night, and the Huntress, last seen prominently featured throughout JLU. This was a pretty self-contained story, but we do get an appearance by the classic BTAS bat cycle design again on the cover, even though within the issue itself, it's just some random normal-ass motorcycle. The plot of this story is also pretty similar to that of Robin's Reckoning, with Batman continuously telling one of his sidekicks to
Stay away! This is not your fight!
Because of a personal connection they have to the bad guy, only for them to amicably take in the villain at the end rather than give in to their emotions.
Stuff your advice, Batman!
There also might be some subtle Batman-Batgirl relationship stuff going on at the start here. Like, she's complaining about Batman ditching her for crime-fighting reasons, but if you read between the lines, it kinda has a little bit of a jealous because I have feelings for this guy ring to it. But we did just see Barbara smooching on Dickie Boy in #1, so I don't know. Maybe that's just me always on the lookout for continuity nods. I should probably see a doctor for that. And Huntress disguising herself as a Gotham police officer is a trope we've seen Paul Dini utilize in the past in the Gotham Girls web series episode Honor Among Thieves, this time with Batgirl.
Tag, you're it. Now, about that agreement of ours.
And that's all I got this time. But that doesn't mean the Easter eggs end here. In fact, this issue gave us some of the more startling BTAC conundrums we've had in a while, so stay tuned as we hop over to Ted for comic book references.
References that lead back to other comic books. That's this part of the video. Black Mask returns to the DCAU. The villain first appeared in Batman Adventures Volume 2, first in issue number 5 from October 2003, before the end of his story arc in number 8. And also got a mention in the Harley Quinn and Batman prequel comic, issue number 2 from 2017. He appeared in The Dark Knight, Batman Crashes the Black Masquerade from Capstone Books in 2013, though modeled more after his appearances in the Batman cartoon, which is somewhat mimicked here in BTAC Season 2, number 3. Easy enough to say he just got a new mask. His henchman might also be wearing a mask. It's kind of hard to tell, but it could be a false face society deal. Like maybe the guy is Nixon or Reagan or some old politician I don't recognize. Jazzman, aka James Jimmy Peak, takes on a very Mr. Zsasz role in this issue. Mr. Jazz, perhaps? Complete with body markings, which are related to each one of his kills, though tattoos instead of knife cuts like Zsasz. He also has his own henchmen, all jazz themed like 8 Bars and Footsie, which is new to his character who only ever had a gun and a guitar case before. Besides those guys, there are multiple new characters in this issue, which continues the BTAC tradition. Black Mask has a lawyer named Stanley Shangles. We meet nightly jazz club singer Solo and tattoo artist Ziggy Tats. Ziggy Tattoos is a shop that exists in real-world Athens, Greece, but it could be a reference to the Ziggy comic strip, David Bowie's Ziggy Stardust character, the Ziggy Piggy from Bill and Ted, the little girl from STAS episode In Brightest Day, or someone from Bob the Galactic Bum issues number 2 and 4, which was a Lobo spin-off comic series. And our own James Strucker's parents used to own and keep a potbelly pig named Ziggy in their house as a pet, who would bite the shins of anyone who came over that it didn't already know. This fun fact confirms a lot about James that I already suspected but wasn't sure about until now. BTAC Ziggy also wears a Hawaiian shirt like Max Tennyson from Ben 10. This has been The Ziggy Show. Everything ever about the name Ziggy. You're welcome. Huntress was featured heavily here, but she's loosely appeared in animated Gotham City for years. Batman Robin Adventures number 19 was her first adventure, with a little cameo in the cover of Batman Gotham Adventures number 1, both of which were written by Ty Templeton. She ultimately appeared on screen in Justice League Unlimited with a different costume in Season 1 before her Season 2 upgrade, which matched her look here in BTAC Season 2, which was originally based on her look designed by Jim Lee in Batman Hush. LOL. Lastly, a little observation on my part, but this issue is still formatted in a half-and-half horizontal split, as though it would be released as digital first chapters, rather than same-day print digital release as it has been. So either production was too far ahead, someone didn't get the memo, or they're just all sticking to this layout style anyway, potentially in the interest of consistency. Man, I hope the timeline retains as much consistency. What's that? It doesn't, you say? Oh no.
Timeline stuff.
Oh, this thing has a timeline? I'm gonna be honest, for the sake of my sanity, I'm kind of done trying to treat the continuity of Batman The Adventures Continue as if it's part of the larger DCAU, and instead try to approach it in the same manner that Dini and Burnett told us that they were back when they were first promoting Season 1. Alan and I approached the writing with the idea we were doing the season you might have seen if we had not put the series aside to do Batman Beyond. We mentioned this in our Will It canon of Season 1, but I feel it needs to be reiterated that it's the only way to make sense of any of this. For instance, for those of you who missed last season's worth of breakdowns, it seemed pretty clear that this series was set before the Justice League animated series, as there were occasional references to the fact we were only about a year after the beginning of the new Batman adventures. This was an assessment that Dini seemed to agree with when he explained away Lex's Justice League era power suit we saw in early issue previews as a prototype. Fast forward to where we are today, and there are still hints that this is the case. Like Batgirl exclaiming how radical these totally far out, hip new exploding batarang daddy-os are, which would place us before Justice League's metamorphosis at the very least. Hell, there may even be earlier instances of these being used, but you think I'm gonna watch 7 hours of earlier Justice League episodes to be sure? Or just use the footnote from the DCAU Wiki's batarang page because it already makes my point.
7 hours later.
Well, Batman wasn't even in some of those episodes, but I'm pretty sure that the exploding batarangs and Paradise Lost count, so we would have to be earlier than that, but it doesn't matter because my point still stands anyway, and you're currently just in a cutaway gag. That's right, baby, this is top 5 Family Guy funny moments. Pew pew. However, despite being before or during Justice League, we'd have to take into consideration that Huntress is said to have been part of the League, and that didn't happen until Justice League Unlimited. So we're during or after that show now, except we aren't because, and I called this in our Watchtower Database group chat when she was first announced, her origin here, where she's lined up with her family, which includes a brother now all of a sudden, as they're shot, doesn't even match her on-screen origin from Justice League Unlimited, where she's hiding in the closet, watching her parents get the ever-loving shit beat out of them, and has no brother, which already didn't match her origin from Batman and Robin Adventures number 19, where the family is killed when she's an adult. So now, instead of 3 Jokers, we've got 3 Huntresses, and this comic is basically DCAU in the same way that Loki and What If are MCU. Everyone's a variant, sharing some but not all of the DCAU history, and the TVA will be here to murder the entire universe any moment now! Oh, hey, Jazzman escaped from Stonegate a month ago. That's neat.
Other/miscellaneous. Batgirl and Black Mask both think Batman's got some nerve, but really, we all know he's just a little boy in a playsuit crying for mommy and daddy. We've seen smartphones hanging around the DCAU lately, but what is this phone that Jazzman has? Is this an iPod? Without those files, I'm a dead man. That's Boston Brand, you dingus. Batgirl apparently fought Bane with a cricket bat at some point, and while we couldn't find anything pre-existing that this is potentially referencing, I just hope Bane was wearing his turtleneck when it happened. Neck protection, or that it happened in a baseball stadium with Lucius Fox Jr., one or the other. This is the only time we're gonna get to see DCAU Bane break the bat, I guarantee it. This guy knows Taekwondo? The 5 Kwans return! Are these 2 more of the Kwans and there's only 1 left now? Look, if you don't get this very funny joke, I recommend watching our Batman The Adventures Continue holiday special video, and then you'll think it's really funny. And finally, Lullaby of Birdland is a real-life standard jazz chart that goes all the way back to 1952, popularized in 55 by Ella Fitzgerald. Though not seemingly relevant to anything in this issue, I'm gonna go all or nothing on our scoreboard points and say that this is foreshadowing for a return of Mr. Wing, where he is revealed to be the one running the Court of Owls. It's Birdland forever here in Gotham. Scoreboard. Okay, so about that score, all I've got is that if Dionysium is Lazarus Pit juice, does that mean I can bump our score back up a little bit? I'll say it at least cancels that 1 point out until old Raz shows up and says, I didn't do the owl stuff, and I cry. So we're only at -1 now. But anything else we guessed previously hasn't been proven right or wrong yet, so that's the end of this section. Conclusion! Another month, another BTAC. Regardless of some iffiness with previously established continuity, it was really fun to get to see DCAU, Batgirl, and Huntress on the same page together. If only this new solo character had been Black Canary instead, or even her hooker doppelganger, we'd be that much closer to a DCAU Birds of Prey. You know, like the one we almost got in the canceled JLU episode where they team up to fight an army of man-bats. Oh, you're not aware? Well, lucky you, we did a video about that already! The shift in artists is definitely going to take some time to get used to, but Monica's colors really help this thing pop and continue to be a lot of what brings me back each issue. And either way, it's still really nice to see another classic DCAU tie-in comic artist taking over from Ty. Rick Burchett has been a part of the Batman Adventures world just as long as Ty has, and even recently drew the majority of the Batman and Harley Quinn prequel comic miniseries. Now we just gotta get Tim Levins and Terry Beatty on season 3 and my bingo card is at blackout. Is the Court of Owls storyline through, or will we see them come back at some point? Later this season, or maybe next season? Is there a next season? A couple upcoming issues are dealing with a former Mayor Mayfield, which is one of the families Hamilton Hill mentioned as being associated with the court, so... And with the mysterious commentary from Maureen Hill last time, it definitely felt like they're not done. But maybe just like with Ra's al Ghul or Cadmus or whatever, they may be back, just not immediately. Jason Todd was lurking around all season last year before becoming the big thing, but maybe that isn't gonna be the case with the Court of Owls. They may have felt like they were gonna be a bigger deal because of what we know of them from the New 52, but here in the DCAU, they could just be any old Cult of the Cat or Red Claw or what have you. It remains to be seen. Last thing I'll say about how we feel so far about this comic, it's a little strange how we keep getting these continuity deep cuts like the Jazzman here, Sid the Squid and Emil Dorian last year, and others, things that would only be enjoyed by dedicated fans. Like us. And yet the stories continue to not pay attention to stuff like, well, Huntress already having an origin, or an already set amount of time in the Lost Years, or Nora Freeze's character arc, etc, etc. It's kind of a bummer, but it's all stuff I can look past knowing how loose this universe's continuity was for the good first half or more of its existence. We've had over 20 years of stories since the end of the new Batman adventures, and now we're back in those TNBA stories, in the mindset that all that stuff never happened or maybe happened differently. So I'm not, nor am I ever, going to tell you that you should dislike this comic based solely on its occasional storytelling lack of attention to detail. We're merely expressing our opinions in these videos, and I urge you to read the comic for yourself and make your own. At the end of the day, it's always really cool to get new DCAU Batman content. I will never stop consuming it until I die. So if the adventures continue, so will our videos, and so will our interest. Now let's give away some stuff! Last video I announced the winner of a BTAC Season 1 trade paperback copy. Congrats again, Jack. And I also introduced the next 2 giveaways. One being a Jason Todd action figure and a copy of BTAC Season 2 number 1, and the other being a bunch of Batman Beyond comics and Gotham Adventures number 6, the Dead Man issue. Each bundle warranted a different comment randomizer selection, so the winner of the figure and BTAC issue is this person, and the winner of the comics bundle is this person. Congratulations to you fine folks. Send us an email at contest@watchtowerdatabase.com with your name and mailing address, por favor. And we've already reached our next 2 giveaway checkpoints for 75,000 subscribers and 77,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to all of our new friends. 75,000 is for a one-on-one video chat with all 3 of us databuds. I guess 1-on-3 would be more appropriate. 3-on-1 that doesn't sound good. This will last half an hour over Zoom, and we can talk about anything. DCAU stuff, the Suicide Squad, ham recipes, cats, whatever. Not cat recipes, just cats in general, or dogs. Just none of us are dog people, so I don't know what we would talk about. 77,000 is for another set of comics. This time the Emerald Nighttime Reading Box, which includes Green Lantern Earth 1 Volumes 1 and 2, Green Lanterns 2016 number 6, and Green Arrow 2016 number 1 and 11. All you have to do to enter for either of these sets of prizes is leave a comment down under in the Australia box. I gotta get better at this. Down under, down, spunky! How do I get into the mode? Down under, in the Australia box. I don't know, it's never any better. To answer our question of the day, what is your favorite issue of Batman The Adventures Continue so far, and why? What made that issue so cool to you? We'll pick 2 comments at random and announce the winners in the next BTAC breakdown video. And you can always check what giveaways are coming up by going to watchtowerdatabase.com/contest. And with that, I'd like to give a big thank you to all all of our Patreon supporters who continue to make these videos possible. And our top patrons, I bet I can remember these ones: Aaron Young, Cameo Shadowness, Luke Mears, and Robert Sterling. These humans are the best humans, and if you'd like to also be a best human, you can head over to patreon.com/DCAU Watchtower and help us out while getting access to a bunch of cool rewards tiers with some pretty shway deliverables. We'll see you next Sunday for a video all about how the Shadow influenced the world of Batman and his animated series. And be sure to come back for the next BTAC issue breakdown and JL Infinity breakdown next month. I'm going to go back to bed now. Good night.